Hey yo, what's cracking with my favorite chaps, the Chico Army, and if you're new and you want to join that crew, subscribe and drop the title of Viewer of the Tube. My name's Tyler, the host of the Crypto Channel, whose content is a little too metal for most, kind of like this guy's B-Day rendition. Happy birthday, You know our screamo, it's time for Chico Crypto. Well, Bitcoin is holding its ground within the range, 10K to 12K, working our way towards the middle of it and possibly revisiting the top of this range. Back in late July and August, when we were bouncing around the top of this range, around 12K, altcoins were oh so bullish. If we are able to slowly push back to this upper level and even break 12K once again, I foresee a similar thing going down with those alts. Because you shouldn't fight the trend, and the trend has been pushing right back up for what crypto movements are currently tied to. The stock market, Dow Jones, right back up after a crushing September. As you can see, the peak was just over a month ago, just above 29,000 points. I don't doubt for 1 second this month we will creep right back up to that level and possibly beyond. And that is good for crypto, as down with the stonks would mean down for us too, unfortunately. Plus, Bitcoin and crypto got some of the worst news possible and shook it off. BitMEX founder Arthur Hayes and the other founders were charged with major financial crimes, and the future of the derivatives exchange is really up in the air. That news would have came out in 2017, it would have crushed BTC. So don't count out another mini run coming this month, October. And if it does happen, it's not going to look at all like we just experienced this summer. There are many other factors at play right in the spotlight, and much of it boils down to what is going on with Ethereum, in my personal opinion. DeFi interest was surging during the summer. From July to August, TVL, total value locked up in DeFi, jumped from basically 2 billion to 4 billion. Then from August to September, it jumped from 4 to almost 10 billion. And then from September to today, even though prices have been getting crushed, TVL still pushed up. It dipped on September 5th to the low of 7.7 billion, but today over 10.8 billion. DeFi has been trending monthly, setting higher highs in TVL for nearly the entire year. And all this action is going on Ethereum, which clogged her right up, creating a pain to get transactions to go through and putting transaction fees to levels never seen. Now, as you can see from the average transaction fee for Ethereum in its history, it had been 2 years since fees got this ridiculous. The Crypto Kitty days were the last time. 2 years, it's a long time. People, they forget, and the newbies didn't even know this could happen. This issue wasn't really an issue until the summer of 2020 began. Now this issue is known by everybody and in the spotlight. People understand that DeFi and Ethereum as a whole can't do what it's supposed to do with the current base layer design. Decrypt covered this topic from none other than Vitalik Buterin just 4 days ago. Article title, Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum's nearly unusable for many app types. And the article references this post from Vitalik in an Ethereum developer thread. Vitalik says, the L1 of Ethereum is nearly unusable for many classes of applications, and there's no non-L2 path that can get us to scalability in the short to medium term. He references he paid over $17 in fees to make a bet on Augur. Then below, it's all about what? What's mentioned 8 times by old Vitalik in the next paragraph. Like I mentioned in the past, one of the kickers for the next run, Layer 2, L2. So what's Vitalik's choice for Layer 2? Is it Ethereum Plasma? Is it OMG Network? Well, in that same thread below, he talks on this. The challenge with ZK Rollups is that at present, they're not capable of supporting general purpose EVM computation. So at present, we have to work with the optimistic variety. And the optimistic constructions are not that bad in my opinion. They suffer from some of the drawbacks of Plasma, but not all. In particular, unlike Plasma, optimistic rollups are easily extendable to generic EVM applications, which makes them much more suited to scaling Ethereum. Generally, whereas Plasma is only effective for payments, DEX, and a few other use cases. Obviously, he likes the optimistic rollups, and that is confirmed further as Vitalik yesterday on Twitter put out a graphic scaling roadmap, which explicitly mentions them in the map and tweets about them multiple times. But when are they coming? As you can see, the roadmap, of course, has no dates. Well, in the tweet thread, he explains when rollups could go live. He put out the original ETH roadmap, Phase 0 to 2, Phase 0, Proof of Stake, Phase 1, Sharding of Data, Phase 2, Sharding of Transactions. And below he says, that said, rollups are already here or coming soon, even before sharding, which is Phase 1. They are here or coming soon. Vitalik, come on, bud. We know rollups aren't officially here yet. That is why no one can share an actual date of when they will go live. Don't get me wrong, I'm optimistic about optimism, but the reality of the situation is they are not even close to ready for general purpose smart contract deployment. Now, one of the leaders in the optimism space is Optimism PBC, who's working on their own rollup chain called Optimistic Ethereum. I covered last week that they would be first partnering with Synthetics and pushing them onto the testnet. Well, some good info has come out on this, so we have to cover it. Kane Warwick, founder of Synthetics, tweeted this on October 1st. Optimistic Ethereum will be the DeFi chain over the next 12 to 24 months. Nothing is even close. Mainnet is coming, and it's going to melt all your effing faces. One of their head engineers should have a sneak peek for you all very soon. Sounds good, right? Well, always Twitter competition drama. Stephen Goldfeder retweeted this and said, "Finally, I agree with Kane. Nobody is close to optimism. Only they have no fraud proofs. No fully trusted sequencer, no benchmarks, and no protocol spec. Join Kane and build on optimism today. Oh wait, you can't because they don't support contract deployment." Ouch. Then below, Chainlink God said this, seeing Kane freak out over this post and throw ad hominem attacks rather than disputing, it's pretty bizarre. What gives? Can we not have an open discussion regarding the fact optimism is still missing key components required for a secure ORU? The snarkiness is given in crypto. So, Chainlink God, you gotta know this somehow relates back to that stanky link. And it does, as Stephen Goldfeder is an IC3 postdoctorate for Cornell Tech. The Cornell connected to Chainlink. They're saying that optimism isn't ready, as they have an optimism competitor. Stephen is also the co-founder of Off-Chain Labs, who have created Arbitrum and the Arbitrum Rollup. And going back to Stephen's tweet thread, below we can see he says, "We launched a version of Arbitrum with fraud proof 7 months ago. We released a new version a few weeks back that's feature complete with fraud proofs, arbitrary contract deployment, and lots of other goodies. Try it out here with a link. Testnet V2 this month." So to me, regarding rollups, Arbitrum versus Optimism, Arbitrum takes the cake. They have been in the testnet V1 already for some time, as we can see from this Medium post written by Stephen, since February of this year, 8 months. Optimism and their testnet just released with a cutoff of who can participate. Just one player, Synthetics. Arbitrum is open to anyone to dive into and deploy. But you guys, this is not the end-all answer. Rollups, it has to be a combination of everything. Rollups, sidechain, state channels, sharding, off-chains labs. Stephen even knows this. In his February testnet Medium post, he said this regarding rollups. Rollup is awesome, particularly for open world smart contracts, which don't have a fixed set of players. But it turns out that for a large class of contracts, we can move even more off-chain, achieving greater scalability and even lower costs. We've written a lot about Arbitrum sidechains and channels and plan to launch them later this year. So rollups are good for ERC20 tokens and that standards-based smart contracts, but it isn't good for things like NFTs, fixed set of players, identities, fixed set of players, which means gaming and DAOs, fixed set of players. So I know everyone wants xDai to win the Reddit scaling competition, and I think they should, proving their mainnet ready today by already monetizing the test tokens, moons, and bricks. but it's highly possible Arbitrum takes it, as it's highly suited when mainnet ready for something like Reddit's community tokens, which are ERC20, supporting the full basket of smart contracts related to that token standard. And diving into Arbitrum's actual Reddit submission, they go deeper into why they are the chosen rollup solution. User HK Lodner, who posted the submission, says this in response to a user saying, "Wasn't there a successful test on L2 with SNX using the OVM?" He says the SNX demo was awesome, but it only used certain centralized components of the OVM. It was not actually using a rollup, whereas Arbitrum is a fully decentralized optimistic rollup implementation. We're still on testnet, so not quite ready for prime time, but all the components are in place for anyone to be able to launch their own secure decentralized optimistic rollup chain using Arbitrum. So he does say not quite ready for prime time. Arbitrum, which is farther along than optimistic Ethereum, which means they are not ready to win the competition just yet, as it needs to be on the mainnet. So I don't know what the delay from Reddit was all about. They last posted they are still finalizing the winner and need more time to look through the solutions. Are they waiting for something like optimism to be ready? Now, I've gone through the submissions in this video. Give it a watch if you haven't by clicking the tag above. From that video, the only ones who could be ready today, in my opinion, are xDai and Matic, both sidechains. And now I've learned Arbitrum with their rollup could be ready here soon. But remember politics, and OMG and Plasma could slide in there with its connections to the Ethereum Foundation. Cheers, I'll see you next time.